Hey guys, I wanted to share with you my long-term financial plan and just the mindset behind it and how I have this structured. This specific plan, I actually just went back in time and I taught this to Warren Buffett when he was 10 years old. And he took these principles and this is how he became super wealthy. I'm just kidding about that, but this is what I'm personally doing, what I'm actively doing. These are the mindsets and the systems and the goals that I have for long-term financial stability and growth. Okay. So there's three categories that I am targeting, and those three categories are necessary in order for us to make more money and keep it, which is the motto of this channel. Make more money and keep it. Money moves with Nick. And there's really three things that we need to do here over the long term in order to succeed. And these are the things that I'm actively doing. I'm in the process of the systems that I have set up in place. And let's get right into it, okay? So my long-term plan, number one, we've got to increase our income, okay? Increasing your income, but not necessarily just your income. We're going to increase the net worth and the cash flow, okay? So I have it income, but that's not necessarily the overarching thing, because if you really think about someone like Elon Musk, he actually doesn't really make any income. If you look at Elon Musk and you look at a McDonald's worker, you'll see which is pretty interesting. The McDonald's worker makes more income, okay, than Elon Musk does, which is kind of funny to think about because of the way that he gets paid. But we're not getting necessarily into that right now. We're increasing our income, net worth, and cash flow. These are just categories. We're increasing our input. We're increasing our sphere of influence, okay? Financially. While we're doing this, we also need to decrease our expenses. So these kind of go hand in hand. In order for us to increase our net worth and cash flow, we need to also decrease our expenses. So by increasing our income and decreasing our expenses, we increase our net worth and our cash flow. So this is just kind of okay, if one is taking money out of the account and one is putting money into the account, if I can make the one that goes in go up higher and make the one that goes down go down less, obviously I have higher cash flow, okay? And then I need to mitigate risk, okay? I need to be able to preserve that capital over the long term period of my life and be able to not end up like some of the people that have gone before us and gambled away their life savings or spent it all, okay? We need to be able to mitigate our risk is what I call that, but really what that is preserving our capital, okay? It's preserving. We have to maybe take some risky plays to get up high. We need to decrease our expenses, and we need to mitigate that risk. And the mitigation of the risk is something that one is going to do initially, and they may do to a higher level later. But let me explain the whole situation here so you can get the full picture of what exactly I'm doing. Okay, so to increase my income, net worth, and cash flow, right now, instead of saving a lot of the money, I'm playing a riskier game, okay? I want you to watch my previous video about the flow of how my financial system works so you can understand better what I'm doing, because it's really important that you understand how my bills are paid and things like that. But I heavily invest, okay? I do not let money sit in the bank. I heavily invest it, which is riskier, but I'm dollar for dollar taking and maximizing what those dollars are doing, okay? So I am heavily investing, specifically right now in the stock market, but I'm heavily investing that money instead of saving it, okay? My net worth is growing and my cash flow is growing if I'm investing it in dividends versus sitting in a bank account. So my net worth and my cash flow are both growing in dividends. And then I'm also working overtime, which then will fuel these things. While I'm young and single, I have the opportunity to, I have so much free time that I can work a lot of overtime and get some capital going and get systems up in place and ready to go. Okay. Now, what I'm also working on, so that's like short term things that I'm doing like on a weekly level. My goal is to also get monetized on YouTube here. And so when you get monetized on YouTube, that is now an additional stream of income. So now we've increased our income, which we can funnel into our net worth, and it increases our cash flow. Okay, as long as our expenses stay the same or decrease. Okay, and then once you would get obviously paid from ad rev from that, but generate income from audience. Okay, so what the goal is with the YouTube channel. This is a personal brand. I'm building an online personal brand, and it's going to take some time to do that and perfect, my craft and things like that. But on top of getting monetized and paid from YouTube, when you have a reputation online, when you've created an online personal brand, when you want to write a book, you now have an audience that wants you basically can market for yourself without having to pay for anything. So if I wanted to create a new product, if I wanted to write a book, if I wanted to, and I really am not a super big fan of selling courses right now because I like to provide information for free unless I really felt like the course was necessary, and that it should be paid for. But once you have a following, now you could maybe schedule, hey, pay X amount for a one-on-one coaching or one-on-one mindset shift, something like that. You can do things like that. Once you have an audience, you can then generate income from that audience. Okay, so obviously getting paid from YouTube, but also that audience that is growing could potentially, let's just say I wrote a book on all the things that I did to make money, like, 10 years down the road. Okay, now I have an audience that already is already invested in watching me, and found my information helpful. They are more likely to, purchase a book or something than somebody who they have no idea about. And there's actually a statistic about this. And I want to say it's 46%, but it might be 64%. It might be a different number, but it's around that number. People, somewhere around that number, if they buy something from someone, they want someone to have an online established presence. Okay, if I'm right now and I have no audience and I'm just trying to just cold call people to sell a book, it's not as easy to do that. When you have an audience that already trusts you, likes you, you've helped that audience, they're your friends, all of that good stuff. Okay, so this is mindset that I'm also sharing with you. If you maybe are on TikTok or Instagram or whatever, if you have an audience that already likes you, okay, let's just say you have, I don't know, you have an audience that you talk about tools. Okay, I like Milwaukee brand, I like DeWalt brand, I hate Craftsman brand, whatever it is. Okay, and then you come up and you create your own tool. You already have that audience that's invested in that market, and then you can then share that tool that you've now created, and you can generate income from that. Okay, teaching somebody about, maybe if you're talking about tools, but maybe you are a carpenter, you can actually then take your audience and teach them how to be a carpenter yourself, for a paid course or something like that. So those are just things that you can do, and these are what I'm doing to increase my cash flow. Now, I haven't gotten to that point yet, but also anytime we have debt, whether it be a car payment, if you have like a house or a rental property, one way that we can increase our cash flow is by refinancing. So let's just say, for example, your credit score went up 50 points and you had some sort of debt. You can then go ahead and refinance, and you could even, for example, keep the same amount of years, but maybe you had, for example, like a 10% car payment interest rate, and now you can drop that down to like a 7, just theoretically. You could then capture that extra cash flow and then route it into heavily investing in dividend funds. Okay, so that's something that, as far as refinancing, also if you do a house, if you want to do like a mortgage and you get equity, you can then go ahead and refinance and pull some capital out of that and then reinvest it other ways as well. So these are ways that I personally am. You don't have to do these things, but these are what I'm doing to increase my income. Now, decreasing expenses, all right, tax evasion, all right, that was kind of a joke because I'm pretty sure that's like a illegal term, like a literal illegal thing to do. But by tax evasion, what I wanted to share about that was decreasing the taxes that we pay and capturing more of that, and we can do that by routing things into like a self-directed IRA. Let's just say I have rental properties, crypto, whatever, and I can actually put that into a self-directed IRA instead. Now, I can't touch it till I'm later, but I also don't pay taxes on it. So anything that you do in that IRA can be actually like all the capital gains and stuff are everything grows tax-free in the self-directed IRA account. And all that fun stuff. Okay, so tax evasion. One way to commit tax evasion legally is short-term versus long-term capital gains. Decreasing, then later we're going to decrease our income and let our assets and cash flow kind of go from that, but that's not really where I'm at right now. Right now I need to increase the income, but when I can decrease my income, from an accounting standpoint, I can evade more taxes that specific way, and things like using debt and things like that could be ways that we can evade our taxes, and that's what I would be doing as well. Now, anytime I get like a chunk, like let's just say a chunk of tax return money, or something like that from all the overtime that now I paid taxes on that I'm getting back, most likely from that big beautiful bill or whatever, paid bad debt. So for like an additional chunk of that, if I now have come upon a free chunk of money, like a bonus at work that I didn't see coming, what I can do is I can actually use that, a portion of that to pay bad debt and either eliminate it completely, or just now I have less interest that I'm paying, and also the term is now shortened because I've made an additional chunk payment or something. When I decrease my expenses, it increases my cash flow. So now if I had, let's just say I had like a car payment, and the car payment matures in 5 years, and now I've made a big chunk, and now it's 4 years and 8 months. That is getting me to decrease my expenses at a faster rate. I'm also going to, in the future, just taking care of your assets, making like your car, making sure you're taking care of things like that, is pretty much my long-term plan with that, making sure the oil changes are up to date, and I am getting new brakes when they need to get done, and all of that stuff to preserve the life of my car, so I don't have to buy a new car as soon as possible. I can actually extend the life, get as many miles as I can, and all that good stuff, okay? Lower cost of living is another way, decrease expenses. So basically what I'm going to do with that is, one of my long-term goals here is to get a rental property, a duplex, and take some of my net worth and move it into a duplex and cash flow that. And basically what's going to happen there is as long as it's cash flowing properly, if I, have it set up the right way, or I start with a duplex and then move into a single family home once the tenants, or a quadplex, or a variety of those. Once those are cash flowing, the cash flow pays for my living expenses. So what I'm doing is I'm lowering my cost of living by increasing my cash flow. And so now I'm not paying for rent or mortgage because someone else is paying for it through the cash flow. Is really one of my longer term things that I would like to do. Have something cash flow, like your house to cash flow, and use money from other sources to pay for that, so you can live for free, so to speak. And this is a long-term goal. Obviously, there's going to be a bunch of objections to that because it takes a while to get to that level, and we have a lot of work that we have to do to get to that point. Eating out less, just something simple. I eat out a decent bit because it's, working all this overtime, but eating out less and just meal prepping, I mean, that little bit can be invested and saved more. And then actually, I've been getting a little fat. Not like fat, but like just a little bit, extra fat, and I'm working on my calorie restriction. So just by eating less meals and desserts, just something like that can save me more money. So that's what I'm doing for that. So increase income, decrease expenses is going to both bump these two up. And then the long term is really want to mitigate risk. Okay, so if the world collapses, the long term is to be somewhat self-sufficient in the long term. So use this capital and move it into maybe a farm or something like that, where I can then now my assets are producing, now they're producing my food. Now I'm leveraging with people, and my farm may even be making money on a cash flow basis if I have the whole thing paid off or whatever it is. But becoming self-sufficient long-term is going to be more like homesteading, is something that I've really been attracted to. And it's just going to be, getting solar panels and investing some of this capital to mitigate risk. So if the world collapses and the whole financial system crashes, for me or my children, I actually have... what are they going to need? A place to live and food. That's pretty much all they're going to really need. So I would have land and food. And, if you have no money to pay for anything, guess what? You have food that you can sell or give away or barter with. You're making energy yourself. You're living mostly off the grid, so to speak. So this is just mitigating our risk by taking control of our own lives. And then just having a cushion of financial assets. Maybe it's gold, maybe it's stocks, maybe it's cash, maybe it's a house, whatever it is. When we have a cushion of just something that's sitting there, that's creating a cushion for us. So if we can't work or our cash flow stops flowing, I now have a cushion to pull from. So I'm not going to be like filing for bankruptcy. And then just getting diversified. Okay. I mean, that's pretty standard, but that's really what I want to do. So now we've talked about job and YouTube, and now we're talking about a farm that's self-sustaining. We're talking about land, and now we talked about real estate here. So do you see how the diversity went up so we're mitigating risk by diversifying into a bunch of different areas. So that's my long-term financial plan. This is just like a lot of it I just hope is mindset for you and just ideas. Maybe you learned something here. Maybe you wanted to take that into your area of life or whatever it is. Maybe you wanted to start a YouTube channel or something like that. But yeah, this is pretty much it for me. So if you found this video valuable, if this helped you, this mindset, you liked it, if this video sucked, please put something in the comments, share it with your friend and say, hey, this guy sucks. Look, he has 12 views, whatever you want to do. Just that engagement, if you find the video sucks, you engaging with it will help more people laugh at how bad this video was. All right, so just think about that for a minute. But yeah, have a wonderful day, guys.